Today we're ranking the best IEMs at around $100, and starting off the best all-rounder, we have the SimGod EM6L. Now, in terms of having an engaging sound and solid technical performance, there's really no other IEM until you move up to the Truthier Nova. The EM6L is a more engaging Harman diffuse field with a boost in the low end and treble, but still maintaining a fun and accessible sound that most people will like. Low end texture is solid, mid-range is solid, and treble is well extended and rather smooth for its price range. It doesn't specialize in any area in particular, and for some people the upper mids can be, a bit much at higher volumes. However, the imaging is sharp, precise, with clean separation and above average soundstage size, and just overall plays back every genre very well, from hip-hop to pop to EDM to indie and acoustics. Even for gaming, the EM6L is very sharp imaging, very good separation and soundstage. You really don't need anything else for gaming past the EM6L in my opinion. The timbre is also pretty natural, normal, no metallic-y, plastic-y or graininess to the sound, although it's slightly colored, slightly warm leaning. And if I could describe the EM6L in one word, it would just be solid. On the other hand, if you want something more exciting and lively, or just like more treble, then the Kiwi's Melody would be a great set for that scenario. It's a very well implemented V-shape, no overly harsh vocals or bloated low end that bleeds into the mids and kind of congest the stage. The stage is still average, not the widest, although it does look like it has a lot of bass and can pass for a bass headset, but in reality the Melody actually sounds lighter than the graph would suggest in the bass. Now don't get me wrong, the low end's definitely got a nice punch and slam to it, not neutral by any means, but I wouldn't call it a bass head. It's not heavy enough, and the overall focus is more balanced because of the extra treble and just less focused on the low end. There are some peaks and dips in the treble, and if you're sensitive in those areas, then there will be a bit too much for you. So not the smoothest and ideal for high volume blasting, but if you want that energetic and sharp imaging experience, then these are a great pick for mid-volume listening. Likewise, the Forteza is also a great pick and is similar to the Melody in the sense that they're both very energetic, but slightly different in where that energy is coming from. So the Melody is punchier in the low end and focuses on the treble more, whereas the Forteza is sharper in the upper mids and it highlights the female vocals better. Both are similar tech-wise and great as energetic IEMs, so it just depends on what you're looking for. However, if you want something less in your face, more neutral and balanced, then the Hexa and the Sonus would still be my pick as the best vanilla sets under $100. Both are not too bass heavy, very Harman diffuse feel like sounding, and focuses on a more clean and subtle presentation when it comes to the vocals and the instruments placements, as well as the bass and the treble. So everything is nicely laid out in front of you with not much energy in any frequencies particularly, not too clinical either, just very inoffensive and a very safe IEM. When compared to the Hexa, the Sonus is basically just a cheaper Hexa with more forward vocals at the cost of slightly worse layering and separation, but sound-wise, both are very similar. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum for bass headsets, the 7Hz Legato is one of the best at around $100. It's got a good amount of bass boost, like bass head-wise, slams nicely, and the low end is more tight than heavy, but it still delivers on the rumble as well as the bass impact. Obviously the mid-range is a bit colored since it's got a crap ton of bass, but it's not bloated or muddy, and the vocal and the treble isn't buried either. Just not the best when it comes to the extension and detail. Obviously they're definitely not the main focus of this tuning style. The Ross Finch is also very similar to the Legato, but just with more mid bass and slams harder than the Legato, although the bass isn't as tight and well controlled, and tech wise it's a step down as well, but it is only $20 and still my go-to at that price range. As for some warmer sets, the Blonde Z300 still holds up even now and has one of the best treble extensions out of all the budget IEMs, including the Wanar, the Zero and the Choose and etc. The overall sound is very lush and full sounding, but still maintains like a good balance in the vocals and treble performance, so very good for hip-hop and jazz. As for the best budget IEM, so around $20 or less, we have the Tantrum One 3.5 version, but honestly, any of the $20 ones will work since they're all bass boosted Harman diffuse fields with tiny differences, in the vocals and the treble. The reason why I picked the Tantrum One personally is because it's, the most different out of all of them, and it has the most air while maintaining a good note weight and low end engagement. But honestly, any of them will work since they're all around the same tech-wise and not very special in any areas. But speaking of technical performance, the original Let's Shure S12 is on sale permanently for around $110, but you can get it for even less, and at that price there's really no other IEM that can compete when it comes to pure detail retrieval and resolution, because planar tech baby. Now the no weight and timbre is a bit light on the S12, a little bit lighter than natural, but some people like that, some people don't, so that's again up to you, just your personal preference. And it can get a bit spicy in the treble as well if you don't get a good fit, or if you just blast these. But tuning aside, detail and resolution wise, great. Now a cheaper alternative to the S12 would be the Kiwi Ears Forteza at around $55. It also has a similar issue when it comes to being too spicy, but in the upper mids this time. Resolution and imaging wise, it's a great value at its price because of the scoop low end, which helps with the separation of the instruments, and the boosted upper mids, which makes things sound sharper, more clear, and helps with the imaging. But as for some of my personal favorites this year, my pick would be the 7 Acoustic Stargazer, which wasn't released this year, but it is easily the best in terms of overall dynamics and refinement at around $100. The smoothest treble wise at around $100. It's like a budget supernova basically, and a cleaner EM6L with more air. Unfortunately though, it's discontinued, so you can't really get them anymore, but if you do manage to spot one on the used market for around $100 or so, give them the shot. They're actually quote unquote the best all-rounder around $100 in my opinion. Another set would be the Tin Hi-Fi P1 Max, aka the Pandas. Very mid-centric, non-fatiguing, immersive, smooth. Still one of my favorite planars, along with the Sifka Nightingale. And then there's also the Let's Shure DZ4 for vocals. But I'll be making a separate vocal tier list, so I won't talk about the DZ4 too much here. And for those wondering where the EW200 went, don't worry, I didn't forget about those. I'll also be making a video on that separately as well. But yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see everyone in the next one.